Yo, what's good, boys? We are back at it again with another reviewing your guys' teams video. So a lot of you guys have been getting more into the series. Appreciate all the support. And if you want to submit, because that's usually the most common question, link is down in the description to submit your team into the next one. So if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, all that. And let's go ahead and get into it. So first of all, just gonna start with my lineup for an example of like what I would think would be a 10 out of 10 team. It's kind of up to you. Like if you didn't want to run Jaron Duran and you wanted to like move Ted to left and then run like Jason Dominguez or Bryce Harper or James Wood, take your pick of another outfielder. First base, you could go Gil Hodges. Second base, you could go Brian Roberts. Shortstop, you could go Jeter and then move Willie Castro to third. You could play Scott Rowland. There's a million different ways you can go, but this is what I have landed on. This is my ideal lineup. Ernie's kind of a relic just from running like a jock platoon, so probably do need to find somebody else there. But for the most part, I think it's a perfect team. I think I'm kind of getting over Randy. Randy's probably my worst pitcher here. So probably look to replace him with like a Nate Pearson or just somebody else that might give me some better results. And then bullpen wise, this is what I've settled on. A lot of cutters. I think Michael Kopech is the best outlier pitcher, even though, yeah, the pars are like half of the strike zone. Other than Felix, I think he's the best outlier pitcher, and he's one of the only ones that have a cutter to work off the outlier fastball. I probably would not be running Andrew Miller, but I want to run the Guardians boost. So that's an example of a 10 out of 10 team. That is what I'm running. And so now we can kind of get into your guys' teams. So let's get our blocker here, and our first team of the day is my guy Trevor here. 800 rating, will be getting the new outlier when he hits World Series. He got Vlad, intends to sell him for profit, has Scott Rowland. I should have 500k after Vlad, saving subs for Friday. I don't know if there will be like, I mean, there'll be a chase card, I would imagine. I don't know if there will be like a pack program Friday. Don't think so. I think they've been doing like every 2 weeks. So I don't know if we'll be getting another program, but do you, I guess. Felix or Castro, or do you wait for another chase card so you can get a few more months out of it? Well, if you're looking to get months out of a card, then you should have already had Willie Castro. But let's see the lineup. Say he's no money spent, so he's got Ted Williams. He's got Beltran. So he's got the goons. This is a 10 out of 10 lineup. It's not my ideal like 10 out of 10 lineup, but it's definitely still top end quality. I don't love Darren O'Day. He's been getting like lit up for me. I think Darren O'Day's in a really weird spot where he's kind of butt on Hall of Fame. He's really good on Legend because you can still shrink people's PCI with the way sliders a lot on Legend. And then he's kind of a step back on GOAT because they nerfed how much PCIs get shrunk on GOAT. So he's in a weird spot. Ben Joyce, not my favorite outlier guy. I think I would prefer Kopech, but if you just want somebody that has smaller pars, I get it. And then I'm not a big Gagne fan. So he did include his starting line pitching rotation. It was just in a different email, and he just had the usual suspects. So I think he had Nate Pearson instead of Randy, but nothing wrong with that. Easy 10 out of 10 card. As far as advice goes, you can go get Felix and Castro. Like, you've got every card in the game. You shouldn't need stubs for a while since you already have Ted Williams. Would not worry about saving subs at this point. All right, next team up, we got Sashwad. I think he submitted before because I remember having difficulties with the name. Judge and Shohei away from Beltran. Okay, so he did submit before. He got Judge, so he's Shohei away, so he's 500k. So he's saying it'll take him about 5-6 days, and he should get there. Should he sell Willie and use Jeter? If it gets you Beltran quicker, absolutely. Absolutely. I would be kind of picky with when you sell Willie, because if you sold him like 2 days ago, you would have sold him for like 350k, and now he's like 220. So I would be kind of picky. I would, wait for a high point to sell him. But yeah, if it gets you, if it knocks multiple days off you grinding Beltran, yeah. Loizaga or Duvall? or Munoz. Doval or Loizaga. It depends on your difficulty. I think Loizaga is going to be better for 95% of people. Platooning Jock and Nick. I like that. Yasmani's in there. Should get Ted. I wouldn't like carry an extra bench slot here because Castellanos' swing is good enough to where you don't really have to worry about it. Should get Ted soon. World Series. Does not like playing on Legend. Some would say you're not really a World Series player then, but I digress. All right, let's see. Adley, Santana, Seager. So this is like a 9.8. I think the 0.2 that you're missing is, you know, the Beltran defense. I think I would seriously consider just swapping these two and playing. I think there's a world where you put Buxton in right, Jason in this primary, and then Jaron in center, and that might just be your best outfield. So I think you're kind of messing up there. I could be wrong, but I think like Jaron's gonna have higher reaction and be way faster than Buxton, even if you've super fractured Buxton. So I think that will instantly improve your team. Let's see. So starting staff wise, the usual, nothing to really say. And then he's got Kopech. He's got, I mean, you've got all of them. I don't know why you're saying all these ors. You've already got them all in. Yeah, other ones you listed, I would go Loizaga. Munoz, I'm just not a huge fan of. If you're playing somebody that cannot touch outlier, he's pretty good. But that's a big if. If you play somebody competent, they're going to absolutely obliterate that Munoz. So, yeah, this is like a 9.8 team. It's just missing Beltran. And I think, you know, you selling Willie Castro to get Beltran quicker is not a bad idea. But in the meantime, again, shuffle your outfield around, and it'll kind of help shore up that gap. All right, so we've been getting some loaded teams, but there's at least been input to be had. Loves the content, big fan, 900 rating, appreciate it. 200k subs to spend. Wants to replace Griffey, dude. Give me a good Griffey, man. That could stick in left or right field. We'll be hooping. Tired of Grandal, Santana, or Adley. I like Santana more. I think they both have about the same amount of quirks, which is basically none. And I've actually thrown more runners out with Santana than I have Adley, but it's been a much larger sample size with Santana. I will say Santana's blocking is genuinely terrible. Like, he gives up one pass ball a game. But, you know, who's really concerned about catcher defense? No. Go power. Like, Roy Halladay sucks. Roy Halladay is genuinely terrible. I learned that the hard way at the start of the year. I could not imagine still running him. Okay. All right, a lot to break down here. Yeah, there's no world where you have Carlos Beltran and you're running Roy Halladay. Like, you can thug it out with Santander. You do not need that extra contact. And honestly, a card like Vlad, a card like Bo, a card like Springer are just going to benefit even more from having the power and it turning them either to a balanced hitter or a power hitter. It's just, that's going to help probably more than the negligible contact that you'll see. So I don't mind the Blue Jays boost. I would just run the Hoffman because Hoffman's just way better than what Halladay is. And I think Hoffman gives hits as well. I'm not sure if Halladay actually gives hits. He probably gives like Ks or something that's useless. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Hoffman. Blue Jays rotation. So you will have to find an extra guy here. It's not hard. You don't have John in, so John, and you're chilling. And then rotation. My boy, how? This card's been out for like a week and a half. That's crazy. Yeah, I would go Hoffman. P5 Yimi, so at least you like him. So it's not the end of the world to run the boost. And then I'm not even going to trip about the bench. So he said he wants some help with the lineup structure. What's this about clutch? Okay, Bo. Beltran up. There's no way Beltran's batting fourth. He should either be batting first or third. No in between. I wouldn't hate him second, but that's a weird spot. So I wish you would have backed out of your lineup before this. So like maybe the glitch will get fixed and I could see what their actual stats are. Yeah, Beltran needs to be on one of these top 3 spots. Probably lead off because he's fast and can actually steal bases. And then your solutions are pretty obvious. You might would want to move like one switch up higher so you don't have like 3 righties in a row. But I mean, you're chilling. As far as your catcher situation, I think Adley and Santana are pretty similar. I think for 90% of people, Santana will probably be better offensively. I think he also fits in the meta better because he just obliterates lefties. But, you know, Adley's probably cheaper and it's a more worthwhile collection because you're working towards Ted Williams and Scott Rowland with that collection. So it's something to think about. But I think you can't go wrong with either. I prefer both over Yasmani. But a lot of people just really like Yasmani. So overall, pretty solid. I think this is, I guess we're going to keep the trend going. I'd say this is like a 9.2. You know, I like the captain boost. We have a captain boost. That probably brings it from a 9 to like a 9.2. But then you got some bad stuff going on. Like Griffey, face it, he's dated at this point. Like, yeah, the quirks are really nice. The swing's really nice, but he is pretty dated at this point. Even you know you probably should be replacing them kind of soon. And then running Halliday's pretty troll. But, you know, I think you get all that figured out. It's like a 9.8. It's like really good. You're just missing like Ted Williams, a Willie Castro, somebody like that. But the theme team kind of helps offset that. All right, so next we got Sebass. I feel like he submitted before. Big fan of the videos. Okay. Hovering between Hoff and Legend. Definitely need more pitching and more stubs. 300K trying to invest. I don't know when the next roster update is. Switch hitters, Catel's fast enough. Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about speed, you're worried about the wrong thing. Hits 350. I'm never going to tell you to. Oh, okay. So he's in center field. Maybe that is an issue. Yeah, this is a putrid defensive outfield. This is terrible. And actually, don't quote me here. Am I wrong in thinking that Santana's actually better defensively than Yasmani is? I know he's at least faster. Same arm strength, a little better arm accuracy, same blocking. One's a lot faster. They're about the same. Speed would only matter to getting to like pass balls and the occasional pop up. So I guess it's just the parallels on Santana is why I was thinking he's better. Yeah, I mean your issue is just the outfield, right? You just think I'm just gonna prescribe you Jarren Durant. And then you're gonna have to figure some stuff out here. Like I think your cuts are either one of these outfielders. Like you could play Cattell out of position and like left field and wouldn't be the end of the world and just get Jarren Duran to play center. And you'd be chilling. Even Byron in center would be better than what you've got going on right now. And it's Cardiarion, or you're cutting like Santander. So you got some cuts that you could make. Not a huge fan of the team comp right now. All right, so let's check his lineup structure here. Yeah, I mean, it's just a million switch hitters. Really nothing bad to say about it. Other than you were bragging about how Cattell hits. They hits 350, so why is he batting ninth? Would be kind of my counterpoint there. He's a bad defensive center fielder, and he's batting ninth. So what's he really doing for you? Like, this could be PCA. So think about that. Either he needs to move up in the lineup and justify his spot, or you might as well just have a defensive outfielder out there. All right. Garrett Cole. That's an interesting one. I mean, Nolan Ryan, good like all-star option, good Hall of Fame option maybe. Nate Pearson here for sure. Like you got 300K, spend 20 of it on Nate Pearson. Hobie Milner's kind of crazy at this point. Josh Hader, I'm not a huge fan of. But, I mean, there's some good, like, cornerstones to work around. Like, Gagne isn't complete trash. I don't mind Hoffman. Devin Williams is pretty good. And Danny is, arguably the best reliever in the game right now. So, you got some good cornerstones to work off. It's just these in-between relievers aren't really all that. But for the most part, that's kind of how it is. So, it's not bad. I think this is our worst team. It's not like a bad team. It's probably, what? I feel like I just can't give a team that has Willie Castro and Santana anything under like an 8. I think this is pretty much an 8 because there's a lot of fixable stuff. I think you could easily fix a lot of this and get to like an 8.5, close to a 9 probably. But there's definitely some deficiencies. All right, so next up we got Aaron here. Appreciates the content. Appreciate you appreciating the content. And Otani away from Beltron. This is what he's rocking with right now. Hard stuck all-star at the moment. Okay. Interesting. So he knows Lighter's probably not the greatest here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 lefties. He's probably running the Guardians boost, considering how many he's got out there. And honestly, if you can get Grady in like the tier 2 Guardians boost, if you are running the Guardians boost, you're kind of trolling by not just filling your bench with them. Because who are you platooning here? Like PCA for one of these corner guys when it's not going to matter. Like if you lose the game because one of these guys don't make it to like a double or something in the 9th, then you just didn't hit good enough with the cards. Honestly, is my opinion. Just hit better with them. So I would load up your bench with Guardians because, like, honestly, Grady Sizemore, if you haven't watched the Team Captains Boost video, if you can get him to like tier 2, like he's disgusting on the Guardians team. And then I see your J-Ram's only a 94, so you put some more parallels on him. Or maybe this doesn't account for parallels on the mobile app. I don't know how that works, but I mean, he's like a 97 overall, like every single day with the tier 1 Guardians boost. So he'd be incredible. Santana be incredible. Bo Naylor would be basically Kyle Schwarber. So I would definitely get your Guardians boost up. And activate both of them. I don't know if you have them both activated or not. But it's hard to tell on like the mobile app. Start rotation's fine. Like there are some issues here. Like even Clemens probably won't get that many strikeouts on All-Star just because his splitter is pretty close to his other pitches. Dustin May is not necessarily a great strikeout guy on All-Star. But yeah, I mean, you kind of already knew that, like, Lighter's kind of the biggest deficiency here. I don't think he'll be god-awful on All-Star, but I would not expect too much. You have J-Ram, and you said you're Otani away. I would seriously consider, like, Gaylord Perry. He's got a forkball. He's got good speed differentials. If not, maybe, like, Nolan Ryan even. Just maybe even Satchel Paige, like just guys that can get you strikeouts. If you're hard stuck all-star, you gotta miss bats somehow. And usually the name of the game is outlier. You seem to understand that with the bullpen, not a ton with the starters. Don't like Darren O'Day if you're an all-star player, although maybe the funkiness just like would be auto strikeouts for people. Don't love Munoz. I just don't think he has enough. Like his speed differential's not there. Yeah, he has double outlier. Doesn't really have the speed differentials I would love to see. So I think you could go some other directions in the bullpen. I don't really have any great names off the top of my head. But also Ben Joyce and Urseg are basically the same guy. So as long as you're not bringing them in the same game, you'll probably be fine. Interesting team. Gave what? Last seemed like an 8. I mean, Elliot, if you're on All-Star, is not bad. All of these cards are super usable on All-Star. Obviously, most cards are. It's usually just pitchers that are like unusable on All-Star. And for the most part, you're navigating that pretty well. So this is probably like 8.5 in the context of where you're at. I think this is, this is a World Series caliber team. You're just gonna have to play good with all these cards. So I don't think the team's holding you back. I think the lineup's fine. I think, again, I'd probably look to get that Guardians boost up. Also, if you ran like Gaylord Perry, that would give you another player. So you got options to think about. I would probably try to just hit that tier 2 Guardians boost. I think it could be worthwhile. All right, next up we got Ortho. I don't know how I skipped over him, but I opened it earlier. So Ortho is just gonna be in all of these. Like he's got the upload on time, and big dog, consistent 800 900 players. Servers are too trash. Crash out too much to make 1,000. O'Day with Eckersley. I think that's a fair point. All advice is welcome. Bro brought up the band names. All right, let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how you would do it, other than maybe you play just Ted like in his primary, but you know, I get just want another switch hitter. So I think Jason, can't go wrong with Jason, can't really go wrong with like Brian Reynolds here. It's just kind of personal preference. How many lefties would that be? 2.5. So I mean, if you wanted to put another lefty in there and just maybe platoon or have, you know, just thug it out, you definitely could just move Ted over and put like Bryce in or somebody like that. You definitely could, but you know, I don't think it's changing your team too much. So I think we're gonna fly through this. That is my exact 5 starting pitchers right now. Lineup structure. That is probably how you would do it. I would. Okay, I'll pose this to you. So I think this is the biggest piece of advice: is what's stopping you from just batting Jock like 4th, 5th, or even like 7th? Because if it's a lefty starter, you're just gonna pull him anyway. So you don't really have to split up your platoon like this, because you're not pulling Seager. He's gonna be in there full time. So either you're gonna have Corey Seager and Jock Peterson back to back, which is a righty's nightmare. Or you're just gonna pull one of them and you'll still only have to hit with one lefty. So that's what I'll say to you, is you don't really have to split this up, because Jock's bat objectively is probably like a top 4 bat in this lineup. So I would consider that. Other than that, pretty good. Bro has Bummer in. He said he's gonna do Eckersley for a day. I don't love Munoz, but I also don't really have an awesome answer for who you should go instead. I'm noticing you're not running a team boost, so there's something to think about if you wanted to just put like Andrew Miller in, or you don't have any Guardians because you skipped Santana. So what, like Tigers? Yeah, no, there's not really a great team captain for you to run right now, unless you can't run Cowles, or if you like Roberts, I'm not gonna tell you to run Marte. So 10 out of 10 team on the next one. Not a whole lot to change other than just that little DH thing. All right, next team up, we got Nate here. So new to the Beltron Club, cold. Not gonna argue with that 5. Next, let's do the actual lineup before the structure. Yeah, so this is a 10 out of 10 team. Structure looks fine enough. I think, okay, one thing I would think of is probably just taking whichever switch you're most comfortable with and just swapping them with James Wood. So if it's Jose, if it's Adley, probably just swap them. Just so that lefty's not up in such a crucial spot, because it's gonna suck if, like, you know, you get leadoff single with Gil Hodges in the 9th inning and you need to run, and then like Heimer pops up, and then, you know, James Wood is up against Danny. Not really where you want to be. So something to think about, you know, try to leverage that and put him in maybe a slightly more low leverage situation, to where you don't have to expect as much out of James Wood, because you're kind of setting them up to either be great or flop. So I'd think about moving him down a little bit. Then the Santana, not my favorite card in the world. Other than that, bullpen's the bullpen. So another 10 out of 10 team. Y'all are just getting disgusting teams at this point. All right, so next up we got Matthew here, super inconsistent with hitting. Wonder why that is. Currently at 700s, made some investments, good pulls. We'll have enough for Ted Williams on Friday. Okay. A lot of people are really confident in their investments now. It's crazy. Corbin Carroll is good at leadoff. Fine. Ted will probably go to DH. That seems crazy to me. Ted Williams will be a better defender than Jason Dominguez. So I'd probably just do that, to be honest with you. You got a lot of lefties, man. Oh my, that's what, 1, 2, 3, and then you're talking about putting Ted at DH, so it's gonna be 4. Half your lineup's gonna be lefties. Don't know how much I love that. So that probably plays into your hitting inconsistency. What I was hinting at was just how trash the servers are and how every game's way different. But you're just gonna have a lot of lefties, man. Like you're either gonna like mercy your opponent or you're going to get no hit into the 6th inning. So I would be careful about how many lefties you're gonna stack. But I mean, in general, the lineup isn't bad. I would just pick between Corbin Carroll and Jaron, and for me, I'd rather have Jaron. So it's kind of up to you, though. Let's see. Starting wise, nothing wrong with that 5. Dennis again. Ryan Helsley. You should sell him. This video is going up on the 19th. I think multiplayer refreshes on the 20th. Sell him. Sell him now. Sell him now. Because he's not that good, and he's about to plummet. So sell him now. Or at least I think he's going to plummet. It could just be rewind, like, World Series rewards right now, but it's not worth the risk, and this card's not that good. You could have Felix Bautista for how much this card costs, so, you know, get rid of him. Other than that, bullpen's fine. So that would be a big piece of advice for you that will save you some stubs is sell that Helsley now before, you know, we get the BR rewind packs. All right. Next, next team, we got Lucas. Rev sent a second email just to say he does not care if the name gets leaked. So 902 rated, Bernie Jock platoon. Okay, so he starts Bernie, I guess, right? Yeah, so he starts Bernie. Interesting. All subs are towards Ted. He has the Guardians at tier 1. Was running the double, but okay, so he was like running Naylor as like a DH, I guess. So bro's just mashing with Jock, which makes sense because he should only be seeing righties. So. Let's see what we got going on here. So you kept him on the bench. You said you're still running the Guardians tier 1, so I don't mind that. Curious what your rationale with Kipnis is. I guess you might just not have Grady Sizemore, but I think Sizemore is just better. So I'd probably do that. The one at bat I've given Sizemore late in the game, he came through with like a double. So I'm a little biased to him. Don't love Chili Dog in the left. I view him as more of like just a pure DH. It just depends on how you do with the swing. You seem like a competent enough player to where I think you'll have a pretty good idea pretty early on using them if you want to keep using them or not. So, you know, it's worth trying, seeing how you get along with them. I don't love Alfonso at second, but I can't sit here and tell you that he's a bad card either. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. How many lefties is that? 1. I mean, yeah, you're setting yourself up pretty well. If you're going all in on Ted, maybe you think about Bryce. It would definitely be a defensive downgrade, but I can't imagine a world where you hit really good with Jock and you would hit bad with Bryce. So something to think about there. Starting staff, the usual suspects. Bullpen, again, I don't like Dennis. I think if you're on Legend, Duvall's kind of nasty. And then he's got Felix. So, I mean, bullpen's hooping. 2.5 good lefties. But as long as you're just spamming slider and sinker only with Miller, it's not the worst thing in the world. All right, so structure-wise. Yeah, see, this is how I would use my DH. Going back to Ortho's team. is like, yeah, he's just batting Bernie here. He's putting Jock in, and then he also has Judge. So he should never really be at a disadvantage here. I guess if you're just like fiending to use Judge, it makes sense. I would probably start Jock, but that's just me. So I guess Jock has pinch hitter, so maybe that's your rationale for like waiting to bring him in. Izzy would get like a slight boost there. I think if Chili's batting eighth, I would kind of question how much value he's bringing to the team. And I would almost think of maybe like, maybe a Jaron Duran makes sense, and you kind of shuffle up the bottom of the order. Or maybe even like a Ketel Marte out of position and left would be kind of sneaky. Or even like Bryce Harper, and you just play Corbin like in this secondary. If you got Corbin batting ninth, I feel like, yeah, you could afford Jaron Duran, and you've got enough platoons to where it shouldn't matter too much. So I think Duran could be on your radar. I can't imagine a world where you would hit bad with him. But I mean, is this 10 out of 10 team? Probably like a 9.5, but I think he's just playing out of his mind. I mean, if Jock's hitting 526, like, you're hooping. So the team is not perfect. Bro's just playing perfect, is what I would say. There's small stuff you could change, but that's the beauty of MLB The Show, is like, he could have this team and play way better than me when I have the best cards at every position. So that's the beauty of the game. All right, next team, we got Brady here. 700, 800, has about 30K. So we got Brady asking us to do something with nothing for the most part. But we'll see. We'll see if there's any like things we can just fix immediately. I mean, there might be some like out of position shenanigans you could get into, but like Ketel's probably still what, second, third best defensive shortstop in the game, so I'm not mad at you still running him. Maybe you platoon like Wood and Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge in secondary is nasty work. I'll be honest, like, he's gonna be brutal out there. I think you're just kind of stuck. I think your biggest issue is catcher, honestly. Even though Aaron Judge probably looks brain dead in left field a lot of the time, Ted Simmons is crazy, bro. I don't think I've ran Ted Simmons since like the 6th week of the game being out, or whenever we got beside. It's been a minute, so not a big Ted Simmons. Actually, I stopped running Simmons when Soderstrom came out. So I don't like the card. I think, I see a lot of people I play that bat like 350 with them, and I just sit there and my mind races, and I think about what they could do with like Carlos Santana on their team. So I would consider maybe going that route, or maybe just working towards Adley, and then you would also get Jaron Duran and Aaron Bummer. So something to think about. Pedro, not a huge fan of him. I think I mentioned him earlier, where like if you just need an outlier guy, he's here, but definitely not my favorite. So we got a Soto appearance. Did not have that on the bingo board. I mean, your only top end reliever for me, guys I actually consider top end, would be maybe this new Threads Aroldis Chapman and Devin Williams. So I think the bullpen needs improvement. I think one of these, assuming you're not running a captain boost for like either Martinez or Miller, one of these lefties should probably be swapped out for Danny. So I think for 30K, that's the budget you gave me. Either Nate Pearson. I think you can live with Pedro. Nate Pearson's probably better, but I think you can live with Pedro. Danny should be on the squad. If you didn't get that from the must-have cards video I dropped today, then get it now, because Danny should be on the team for 20K, for sure. This might be the hardest team I've ever had to rank on here. I don't even want to give out a number, because it's like, you have Beltran, and you've got Scott Rowland, and you've got Gil Hodges. Like, you've got some really good cards. And then Ted Simmons is just kind of hanging around, and you got Aaron Judge in a secondary position, which is a scary thought. So there's a lot going on here. I think I'm gonna do 7.5 because I think Aaron Judge's defense is worth a whole point right now. Like if it was James Wood, I'd feel a lot better with him having like 80 speed out there. And then I think Ted Simmons is just not it at this point, in my opinion. All right, so next team we have Falcons legend, Chiefs legend, Tony Gonzalez in the emails, man. Who would have thought? So you want to see my insight on the squad and what I could do to improve it. So let's see. All right, 10 out of 10. Next question. How many lefties is that on the serious note? 3. You can live with 3. I'd rather have 2 or have one that like I platoon the whole time. So that'd probably be Bryce for you. Or maybe you would be a sick puppy and like platoon Cattell with Corey Seager, but locking in Corey Seager for like 350K and then platooning him with Cattell would be kind of crazy. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with this team so far. Pitching wise, don't like Pedro. You have him P4, so maybe you're hooping with him. I don't like him. I'd rather have Scooball here. I'd rather have, you would be very lefty heavy at that point. I'd rather have Dustin May. So that's just me. But that's just a preference thing. I think he's good enough to where you could have him in there. Bullpen, okay, another guy, Sel Helsley. I know your team's disgusting, and maybe you've been spending those NFL Network checks on the game. I don't know. But if you care about your subs, sell Ryan Helsley before he gets rewound. Would be a smart idea. Other than that, and on a more serious note, you need another good lefty in the pen. Bummer's cool. Danny's exquisite. Go get Matt Strong. He's like 25K. And you probably have him. If you don't have him and you have Adley, then you took a serious misstep somewhere. But this is maybe a 9.8 if you want to nitpick the bullpen, but with all the parallels and all the super factors, this is a 10 out of 10. Maybe there's like some lineup structure stuff, so maybe you could have included that, but for the most part, this is a perfect team. All right, so we've got Juan here, and Juan gave us a book, which is never bad. It's good comms. World Series, don't play until Weekend Classic. So I guess he plays up until like 700, 800, gets like the rank that he wants, and then plays Weekend Classic. Swapped out Token. Okay, I'm not even gonna guess what that is. 3 million in investments. Interesting. Lighter for 100K, so he's already under 100K, so you're fine. I don't. The multiplayer missions is not why he's going to drop, because he's not going to get rewound. He's going to drop because more people make World Series. So, lineup orders, bullpen, okay. Devin Kirby, you don't have to worry about him anymore. He's gone. Okay, so he's got a lot of super factors. That's not the end of the world. Like, most cards, it's like, the only time you're gonna notice the difference is paralleled to super factored. Like you're not gonna notice like the +1. Like I think most people can get every card in the game to like P3. Like it's not crazy. Loves the video, so appreciate it. All right, so let's see what we got. So that's the bench. Having these cards P5 already and then benching them is crazy work, but fair enough. Starters. He's running Sandy. Okay, so I'm interested to see how Sandy does for him. I think he's really good. I think Dustin May is probably still better, but I think Sandy's not bad. Like, if I was just making an all-star rotation, it would probably be not Roger Clemens, because most all-star players aren't going to have Roger. It'd be John. It would be Sandy. It'd be Nate Pearson. It'd be Dustin May. And then probably Satchel would be my ideal, like, all-star rotation. So, not bad. Bullpen. He said it's all over the place. I don't hate it. I think Camillo's probably not going to be great. Because if you just make World Series and then don't play until Legend, I don't think Camillo's going to be very good at all. So, I'd probably get him out of there. Soto, if you're good with this pinpoint, I don't hate. but even then his pars are really big, and he does not have a changeup, if I'm remembering right. So he's a card that needs a changeup because he throws a cutter, he throws a sinker, he needs a circle change to work off of it. I would probably go a different direction there, and you don't even need a lefty there. Your starting rotation's already pretty lefty dominant, especially if you go get lighter, to where that doesn't have to be lefty. You can put any righty you want there. So not mad at it. The bullpen was not as like all over the place as I thought. So we did leak a little bit there. Unfortunate. But this is what happens when you send multiple submissions. All right, so lineup wise. Oh my. All right. Back out a little bit. All right, so Ted P5 is crazy. All right, Ted, Bryce, Corey, and Corbin. So if you're not platooning any of these, you're going to run into some nasty times facing like Randy, John, Leiter, Scooball, where they just cook your ass. So I would be a little cautious of that. But I mean, lineups 10 out of 10, not much to change. I don't love Vlad. I wouldn't be running Corbin Carroll at this point. I think I would prefer Jaron Duran in left and Ted Williams in the secondary right field, but it's up to you ultimately. So 10 out of 10 team, nothing really to talk about. I didn't think the bullpen was as egregious as you made it out to be. And there's really not that much I'd even change. Dude, we need to do like a overhaul my roster video where like these teams are banned. Because for the most part, it's like, oh, I can fix your lineup order, and that's about it. A lot of righties, so okay, you could use some more switch hitters. It's not the end of the world, and you don't have to be a switch degenerate, but it sucks because if you're not, then you're just handicapping yourself. Because in the past, switch hitters were just preference and an illusion that made you feel like you hit better. Now, like you're actually at disadvantage if you're facing a same-handed pitcher and you don't have a switch hitter. So, a little unfortunate there. So I think you could use some more switch hitters. You have a lot of primary handedness hitters, but you said you got Adley, so maybe you finagle some stuff here. But for the most part, you just kind of need like Santana, maybe working like a Marte, but it's kind of tough when you have Brian Robertson. The usual suspects starting, bullpen wise, pretty good. For 20K, you should absolutely go get the Diamond Danny. Don't love Dennis. Other than that, I think I've already talked about everybody in the bullpen 10 times over. So it's probably what, like 9.5? 9.5. I think you just need some more switch hitters. All right, here we go. So hopefully not. I say hopefully not a God Squad. And I see Ted in left. So all right, we got my guy Kevin here. Loves videos. Schwarber Adley. That's a common question. I saw somebody in the comments last night, and I really don't have an opinion on it. So maybe that was you. I'll try to give an opinion here, but it's really just personal preference. All right. James Wood in the secondary is kind of scary. His reaction is going to be really bad. I will say Ted has played a superb right field for me. So if you have any issues at James Wood, I'd probably just swap him. Other than that, if you're dying to get Schwarber in your lineup, I would just platoon him with J-Ram. Where like start Schwarber. If it's a lefty, you put in J-Ram and you just rock with him not being the most awesome against righties for the rest of the game. That's what I would do. Did I even go over? I think Zimmerman's kind of dated at this point just because there's a lot of outlier guys you can get. I think Hobie Milner's super dated with like 73 clutch. And I personally think Griffin Jax is abhorrent. So you didn't, okay, 700, 750. I don't think Camillo's going to be good for you. You can try him, maybe. Outlier cutter, it doesn't really hit like that. I think Michael Kopech will be better for you than Camillo. So, all right. So lineup structure wise. I don't love having this many primary like handedness hitters this high up. You don't have a lot of switch hitters either, so you're kind of similar to the last guy. Where's your DH spot? It's right here. I mean, I feel like you pretty much have this how you would want it. I think what I would probably do is move J Ram up a spot and then, like I said, start Kyle Schwarber, and then you'll either have back to back lefties and just dominate whatever righty you're facing, or you'll just put J Ram in and at least Corey Seager. If your opponent brings in Strom, Danny to get Corey Seager out, then they have to deal with a J Ram that's like 125, 115 against lefties most days. So that's what I would do there. As for the bottom of the lineup, wouldn't really change that much. You got a lot of lefties. Try to split them up a little more. So like maybe even JRM it's fourth for you, but probably not. It just depends on how you hit with the card. That's what always makes lineups kind of hard to structure. But another 10 out of 10. So what can you do? Or you know what? We'll be a little harsh, like 9.5, because I think some of these guys are not optimal for the difficulty that you're playing on. All right, so next we got my guy Michael here. 800 and 900, 2 games off World Series, so hasn't got to play a ton. No lighter. I think he misspelled lighter. I think the E's before that. Chris Hill's not good. 2.1. I mean, I wouldn't say he's not good. I would just say he's a gimmick pitcher, so he's pretty volatile. Got to get rid of Skeens. I've been telling people that. 220K. All right, see what we can do. Pretty good budget. Don't like your center field. Springer isn't trash, but I think you got to make some hard choices here and just get a better center fielder. So, maybe you do like half of the summer program and go get Jaron Duran to play there. Or if you just want a free card, you could go get Corbin Carroll. But I'm noticing that would give you 4 lefties, so not ideal. Not a big Piazza guy. If you've already got Delgado, go get Yasmani. He's going to be better than Piazza. I love Piazza. This is probably the best Piazza's been in a while. A switch hitter's still going to be better. It's just how it is. I would hope you're platooning Jock. Maybe, okay, we don't have a bench pick, and I can't see him down here, so I'm hoping you're platooning Jock. Yeah, I mean, these back two are pretty abhorrent. I can't lie. Sale is cool with the gimmick. I would just pitch him with the short leash if you're really going to use them like that. And then Skeens obviously sucks. You don't have John Don. And judging by the fact that you're like a 900 rated player that is at least serviceable and legend sometimes, something tells me you just don't have a lot of free time to play the game. So I get it. You don't want to go grind storylines, spend like a Sunday morning, Saturday morning, running up some storylines, getting John. It's not fun, but at least then you have a pitcher you can use at least for another month. So I'd probably go do that. The big three here. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. And he's got Matt Strom. Don't love Camilla on Hall of Fame. I think he's like a legend plus guy because he really thrives off making people read sinker off the cutter, which is not an easy thing to do when your opponent has brain cells and has time to think about it. It's really a pitch where it's got to be on legend. It's got to be like getting on you like that to really throw a good player off, because a sinker does not look like a cutter. A cutter looks kind of like a slider, kind of like a lot like a four seam. So it does not really look like a splitter or a sinker. So you gotta be mindful of that. I think that really only starts at like legend. I don't think he's gonna be good on Hall of Fame. But I mean, pretty good team. I mean, you're making it work. Like, World Series with this team is, what's the top end card on this team? Roberts, Marte, and Willie. Like, other than that, like, if you're not platooning Jock, that's definitely not optimal. So you're making it work. It's probably like an 8 on the dot. Like, I think any team over like a 7.5, 8, you're good with. You can make 1,000 with. I think the only time you really need that like 10 out of 10 team is if you're going for like top 50 or something like that. All right, so next up we got Elliot here. We are at 50 minutes, so we'll probably do a couple more. 600, just enjoys the grind. Nothing wrong with that. 150K, thinking about chase cards or doing collections. No one's unreplaceable. Okay, it checks out. It checks out. Somehow it checks out. Never heard that in my life, but apparently it checks out. All right, so 150K. Thinking about doing chase or collections. Seems like you'd be in a pretty good spot for collections. I think Altuve's kind of troll. His swing's pretty good, but Brian Roberts just gonna be better. So if you're running for fun, cool. Comp wise, probably wouldn't do it. Other than that, I'm not gonna like nitpick the lineup to death. Don't mind it. Structure wise, Andy's batting ninth. Get him out of there. Get him out. Andy's batting ninth. Get him out. Swap Duran and Beltran. I always want like the better RBI guy in the 3 spot. That's just me. Maybe I'm old fashioned. Maybe that's the problem with this generation. No respect for RBIs. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I don't like Scott rolling that high. I'd honestly rather have like Castellanos there, but it's really up to you. Yo, shout out to you. The quality here is immaculate. I don't know how you captured this. I don't know if you have Elgato or what, but it's really good. It's crystal clear. Bullpen's terrible. Bullpen's terrible. Yeah. Screw chase cards, screw collections. You need a bullpen, my boy. I'm not saying it's got to be Felix Bautista, but a Devin Williams and a Danny would do you wonders. Matt Strahm, like you've already got Jarren Duran and you don't have Matt Strahm. So, if you have any aspiration, you have Adley. Where's Matt Strahm? Do not tell me you skip Matt Strahm. It's not the end of the world because Matt Strahm will probably remain valuable for a while. But it also is because you should have just bought him because I think he's going to be in everybody's bullpen for like the next 2 months. So that's probably something I would consider. He's definitely better than Hobie Milner. Okay, Val's terrible. Fernando is actually awful if you're on All-Star. Hall of Fame, it's like a coin flip, and then Legend is where he starts to get really nasty. You should no. Nate Pearson. Yeah, that's probably your whole budget if you go by everybody I talked about, but your team's gonna be a lot better for it. So, all right. So this should be a fun one. We got Nicholas here. Loves the vids. First year playing, so always love to help a first year player out. 700, 789, very precise with your rating. So you're 1 game off World Series, so it's not bad. You're getting there. 300K to work with. Scott Rowland is not complete yet. Any upgrades? Does not like the middle infield. I see Ketel Marte, so we've already got beef. Already got beef talking about my glorious king that way. Joey Gallo's kind of troll. I'll be honest. Jock Peterson's just better. So, sorry, Jock. Candelaria is just better, honestly. So, that's probably what I would do. It's a little redundant because Candelario actually hits righties better than lefties. But, okay, this is what you do. Joey Gallo, into the sun. Get him going. Start Jock Peterson. If they bring in a lefty, you bring in Aaron Judge. If they bring in a righty for Aaron Judge later in the game, you bring in Candelario. There you go. Problem solved. And then you still have PCA to sit here and play good defense for either Harper or Santander. Super late game if you really need them to. I think that fixes your lineup for the most part. I mean, there's not too much else I would change. You don't love Jeter? Well, I got bad news for you. It's Willie Castro. So, unless you've got, I mean, you do have 300K. I just don't know if I would blow it all in one spot. Starting staff's good. Toby Milner kind of troll. Get Danny. You should at least. Oh, you do have Danny. All right, never mind. I'm trolling. Franco's kind of crazy at this point. Matt Strom, I guess. Strom for one of these guys. Yeah, you don't even have, or Hobie's technically a lefty, but I don't really view him as that. He's just a gimmick. So I'd probably go get Matt Strom for either Hobie or even Gagne, because I'm not a big Gagne guy, but not bad structure wise. A lot of Hodges in the 3 spot. I need y'all. I need y'all's hitting approach with Gil Hodges because mine doesn't work. If you swap out Joey Gallo, I'd probably move up whoever you end up deciding to start at DH. Pretty good team, especially for first year play. I mean, first year to have Beltran's impressive. So there's people that have played MLB since 16 and have never done the live series. So shout out to you for that. I think like 8.5, 9 bullpens count. Okay, yeah, 8.8. So really good team. Okay, so we got an interesting one here. We'll probably do one more after this, just because I want to fit as many people as possible. We've got Marcus here, 900K from pulling Witt and Shohei twice. The math isn't math, and where do you spend all those stubs at? You should be like a good amount. Think locking in cards is a scam. Then what are you doing with all these stubs? If you're not locking in for collections, why do you have these stubs? Because the way it's going to go is you're going to sit here and not spend your subs and just hoard them and not do collections. And then at the end of the year, you're going to have all these stubs and every good card's going to cost like 500K. So you're going to miss out on actually playing the game, is my opinion on that. Let's see. Glad. It's cool. You know, no collections, whatever that moral high road is killing your team because you're having to run Piazza because Grandal's a collection, even though you can get Grandal for free. So whatever there. Like all you gotta do is like run the May season and just pick that pack and you'd get him eventually, and you already have Bo Bichette. So, but whatever. If you don't want locking cards, just know it's holding your team back because that's Grandal, that's Santana. You can't get. I mean, you might as well just go get Posada. Might as well just go get Posada at that point because that's your best catcher option. DH wise, I would hope you're platooning. I guess you're platooning Adam Dunn and Castellanos. I don't love that. And then defensively, your outfield's terrible. So I would swap Corbin Carroll and George Springer because that's going to give you your best defensive outfield. I think Springer actually has a secondary right field, so that actually helps you out a good amount. And then I would swap Bo and Jeter because like Bo's already going to be trash. You might as well run him at second. Or wait a minute. There's some optimization issues going on here. Willie Castro should be playing shortstop because he's by far out of these 3 going to be the best defensive shortstop. And then I think you play Bo out of position at third and Jeter out of position at second is how I would do it. I don't love that, and it's kind of weird for both of them to be out of position now, whereas you already have the secondary. But I think that's how it's going to play best for you defensively. So, pitching. So you don't have John. Well, I got news for you. John's completely free now, so you don't have to feel like locking in free cards as a scam. So, you see how this is holding back your team. It's absolutely nuking your team. So go get John. He's completely free. You can go do storylines. Ryan Helsley, like, see, this is what happens when you don't do collections. You just end up like having like 120K reliever that sucks in your bullpen. Like, dog, you could go sell him and knock out the AL Central. Or not the AL. Yeah, definitely not the AL Central, but you could sell him and go knock out the NL Central. Like right there. I mean, it's probably too late now. Like it's point of diminishing returns where like you've already missed out on Ted Simmons being good and Darren O'Day being good and a lot of these other cards. To where pretty much you're just locking in for Gill and Beltran and Clemens at this point. But I mean, they would be a lot of people would kill to be in your position with, you know, as many stubs in the team you have right now. So lineup structure is a little weird. Yeah, I don't know. You've done my head in here. Separate your lefties a little more, I guess. I would think you would want like Corbin Carroll lead off and then Willie Castro second. Would be how I would do it. But other than that, it doesn't matter that much. Okay, so we're actually gonna do two because I like you guys. Platonically. Because we've got Sam and we've got the next guy, and they both said they're trying to make World Series, so I'm gonna try to help them out. This was 4 days ago, so maybe they're already there. So he's around 700, 750, so he's trying to max out. He's trying to make something happen. He wants to be as efficient as possible. Doesn't want to grind. Santana. I don't think you gotta worry about a free catcher coming out that's gonna be better than Santana. Closest you're gonna get to that is Grandal, and if I load in and see Grandal, then you probably don't have to worry about Santana. But he also has a first base secondary, and you've always got DH spot, so you don't have to worry about Santana being irrelevant. Bullpen sucks. Strong starts. Okay. So he's got to hit the ground running. All right. Let's see what we can do here. So he does have Grandal. O'Hearn. Two lefties. Two lefties ain't bad. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would just run Corbin Carroll in center field over Cedric Mullins. He's going to be a way better defender. I think the bat will be similar, if not even better, with Corbin. Other than that, I wouldn't change the lineup too much. Like, Royce Lewis isn't anything special at third base, but he's also, like, you could go get Junior Caminero for, like, 25, 35K, whatever he is. Maybe that's worth a shout. Maybe that's worth a shout. He's like a budget Vlad, is how I would compare him. So maybe that's decent. Okay. This is kind of troll. I don't know if you should have Randy Johnson. It's okay. It's kind of tough because, like, you know, you're a 740 rated player most of the time at your true peak. So, like, yeah, if you can pitch Randy and pitch John and then pitch Scuba and get a good game out of him, then yeah, you're within striking distance. So I kind of get why you want Randy, and maybe you locked him in earlier in the year. But that's 150K sitting there that you could put into the lineup to just have better overall consistent games. So that's something to think about. Nolan Ryan, I think, is kind of troll. He's okay to have. See, that's a guy where he's the definition of hit the ground running. He's either going to throw you a no-hitter through 5 innings and strike your opponent out 15 times and they're going to rage quit. Or he's going to give up 8 runs in 3 innings and you're going to have to turn it into a bullpen game and you're going to be playing catch-up the whole game, and that's not exactly fun either. So not my favorite pitcher in the world to be running there. He says Penn needs work. If you're running live series Juan Duran, yeah, I'd say that's a fair assumption. I mean, it's a lot of mid. I won't lie to you. And it's tough to get better without just doing like Felix. Matt Strahm will be good. You've only got 2 lefties even in here. You should have minimum 3, maybe even 4, because you're not as lefty dominant as some people are. So I would probably go get Matt Strahm and replace this silver Yohan Duran. And then Devin Williams is better than Eric Gagne, better than Griffin Jacks, better than Dennis, and better than Randy. So whoever you feel the least comfortable with out of those, I would go get Devin Williams and play him over those cards. But it's not bad. You did not include your stubs, so I mean, I hope that you have the stubs to do that. I tried not to recommend cards that cost a ton, but hopefully that can get you over the hump if you're not there already. All right, so final lineup, we've got Brian. He hit me with the Times New Roman. 600, 700, trying to get back to World Series, so he's a little further. He's a little further. Sold off Posada to get Live Series done. Cool. No problem with that. I think more people should be okay with doing that. Yeah, you lose a little bit of tax, but Beltron's worth every penny. So it doesn't really matter if you lose 20K on tax. Hate J-Ram, hate Hodges Swing. I think you just gotta rock out with J-Ram because he's just so much better than like every other option. And like you can work him in at second, you can work him at third, you can work him at DH. He makes the best team in the game, or like the best captain boost in the game. So I think you almost have to like run it up with him. It's a lefty. He runs Acuna. Yeah, I hope that's not the chase card. That would be kind of troll. All right. Always looking for a new car or trying to get Adley. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. You might have inspired me, my guy. I can't lie, because I will do anything. I will do unspeakable things to get Juan Soto back in the lineup. Like you have no idea. So, I mean, if I can just run Vientos and then Franco and then just a bench full of Mets, I might have to run that. I can't lie. So, I like what you're doing there. Other than that, Eddie Murray, good budget option. I don't think he's anywhere close to like Santana or anything, but. And then you're going for Adley. I've personally not had an awesome experience with Adley, but you've already got Jarren Duran, so you're kind of already committed. You're probably going to either have Matt Strahm in the bullpen or should have Matt Strahm in the bullpen, so that'll save you some stubs there. Okay, so pitchers. Liberatore. First Liberatore of the day. So not mad at it. I think for your difficulty where most of your games are all-star, he's not going to be very good. I'll be honest. It depends on how well you hit. If you're putting up 10 runs a game, 12 runs a game on all-star, Matthew Liberatore, probably not going to lose too many games for you. If you can't do that, he's probably given up 6 a start against decent, comfortable all-star players that bounce back and forth between Hall of Fame and all-star. He's probably given up like an aggregate of like 6 runs. So I'd be a little cautious. Oh, and Al Leiter on the Mets. Yo, you might have cooked. I can't lie. You might have cooked. Bullpen wise, don't like Griffin Jacks. You do have Strahm. You've got Danny. You've got Bummer. So 3 pretty good ones there. Or 2. Yeah, no, 3 pretty good ones. You're running Franco, so you've actually got 4 lefties. Not a huge fan of that, but is what it is. Devin Williams for Randy is what I would do to sort your bullpen out if you need some bullpen help. He was talking about this Acuna card. It is the chase card. Dude, having the chase card on your bench is crazy work, bro. That's 200K, my boy. That's 200K. So, what do you do? If it's a lefty, he runs Acuna. For who? For Jason or for Juan? Because if you're running this whole Mets boost for Juan, I don't know if it's worth just pulling him for Acuna, like, before a pitch is even thrown. So I would seriously contemplate that. Jeter, Marte. It's a little bit of a gamble. I would consider running Jarren Duran lead off, just so at least then you have a traditional lead off, because you almost can't afford to bat Beltron lead off because you don't really have good enough bats to justify it. So I would consider like Duran lead off. Other than that, I don't mind it. If you do Duran lead off, maybe you draw Juan Soto a spot, which probably isn't what you want to hear. Dude, you gotta get Acuna in the lineup. I'll be real, like you gotta get Acuna in the lineup. I don't really know how you do that. Yeah, I think you got a decision to make. You could just very easily stop running the Mets boost, but you got a decision to make. I think either full time Acuna and forego the Mets boost, or you just sell them and take your stubs. Man, there's nothing wrong with just having stubs, especially if you just finished live series and your team could very desperately need the stubs to finish Adley or to finish to go get Posada or to do Carlos Santana, or there's a million cards that could be helping you right now, and instead you have an Acuna on the bench. So hopefully you didn't lock him in or do anything silly like that. But that is our last team. I feel like I haven't been doing a good job of rating them, but we've been here for an hour and 10 minutes, so forgive me. 8 out of 10. I mean, there's some pretty big. Yeah, this has like 8 out of 10 all over it. It's a cool captain boost to be running. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully I got to your team. If I didn't, resubmit. Try to get you in the next one. Till next time.